Hello and welcome to another edition of Last Bell Boxing. We've got a esteemed guest joining us this evening, Andy Brown. Andy, how are you doing?
Thanks very much, Ray. Yeah, it's great to be with you. I love your channel and love what you're doing. Keep it up.
Brilliant. It's great to have you on for your expertise on amateur boxing. And today we're gonna have a great chat about Team GB and their prospects for the upcoming Olympics in Tokyo. So because we've got a very strong squad going around this time, got 11 boxers representing us. So what we'll do is we'll run through the women, starting off at the flyweights. Charlie Davison.
Yeah, well, Charlie, by the way, I'm not an expert. I've picked up a lot interviewing these amateur boxers, but I certainly don't class myself as an expert. But Charlie Davison is a very good story to begin with, because she's a mother of three who came out of boxing for 7 years. And to see her come back and just to get in the Olympics is an incredible achievement. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Charlie gets on.
Yeah, I would. Her story is, like you said, it's absolutely fascinating for the time for it to take out of boxing and to get straight back in. She's in a very competitive weight, the flyweights. She's going to have Mary Com from India in her weight class. So well,
she's interesting. Sorry, Ray. She's interesting as well because Mary Com's mother of 4 children. She's won the world title 6 times. She's won an Olympic medal before. 38 years old, and this is like the swan song of her career. And apparently in India, she is a huge star. She's massive.
She's a member of Parliament over in India, and for me, she's like a female Manny Pacquiao, if that makes sense. She's going to be one of those that's going to turn out to be a great film in about 10 or 15 years. And you're right. Can she do it at the right old age of 38? Because this has got to be her last Olympics. But the way she goes on, who knows? But Charlie's in a tough weight class. Karis Artensol,
well, I don't know Karis, but I know a coach who was her original coach, which is Kevin Bradbury at Macclesfield ABC. Kevin's a fantastic. He looks like a big Hells Angel. He's a big gentle giant. He's a lovely man and a very good coach. And Karis, she's still in the army, isn't she? She's an army gunner. And, I saw her. I watched. This is what always it bothers me a little bit. The last World Championships is on YouTube. And if you go on there and see how many people viewed it, it's not very many. And it's top quality bouts. And Karis lost. She got bronze medal to the girl from Thailand, Philippines, who won it. And to me, she won it easily. So to me, she could have easily been the current world champion. So Karis, I think she's very tall for the weight. I think she's got a big chance. Yeah. I mean, she's coming in at featherweight. Like you said, she's medalled at she's medalled at those championships before. She's going to go there. I think she's going to go there with a lot of confidence. I don't think she's going to feel as though she's got anything to lose there. So that could stand her in good stead. And she's boxing apparently on the first day, on the 24th. Her and Peter McGrail have been drawn, and they're both the first 2 GB boxers out.
Yeah, so, Peter McGrail's also. Yeah. And also we've also got the sister of Daniel Dubois, Caroline Dubois, lightweight. Now she's a very interesting story, not just because of her age, and obviously she's got a famous sibling, but she can definitely pack a punch. She's had a good reputation from the amateurs over here, and she's pretty much, I would say, one of the dark horses in the whole squad. Never mind in the women's squad. Yeah,
well, it's only recently that she's actually lost. I think she's just lost a couple. One in the qualifiers. That was to the Irish girl who slips my mind, but she's the world champion and she's number 1 seed.
Is that Harrington?
Yeah, and
Kelly Harrington.
Yeah, and she's just beat her in the European final. They'd already qualified, but but before that, Caroline had gone about 50 fights unbeaten, which, as you know, is virtually unheard of in amateur boxing. And I think she could be one of the superstars of this Olympics. I've just interviewed one of her teammates who's at Repton ABC, and she says she rates her even higher than Katie Taylor. She said she's got that much talent. So, it's going to be very interesting to watch Caroline. And apparently there's a younger brother as well who's coming up through the ranks.
I heard, but I wasn't too sure whether he boxed or not. I know, right. I wasn't too sure. I saw him because obviously when Daniel Dubois fought Joe Joyce, the whole family were there. And I did see a little one who did look as though he had a little bit of physique on him, but I wasn't too sure.
How old's he then at the minute?
I don't know his age. I think his name's Prince, but I think he's only a young teenager.
Yeah, 16, 17 maybe.
Yeah, that's what I think he is. I'm not sure on that one.
But it's interesting, Andy, because Mike Costello, who I've got a lot of time for, he really raves about Caroline Dubois. In fact, he even said, I think she might be the best female boxer I've seen. Now, when Mike Costello gives you praise and you hear him talk, you've got to listen.
Yeah,
that would feed into what you're seeing there, Andy.
No offense to Daniel Dubois, but he's obviously a heavyweight. He's more into power, but she looks like she's much more of a polished, slick southpaw boxer. And if she got Harrington in the final, that could be like a Jonas Taylor again. That could be a great fight. This is why I think people should be getting excited about these Olympics. There's some great fights that could happen in this Olympics.
It was the final of the qualifiers she lost that fight to, isn't it?
Sorry?
Was it the final of the qualifiers?
Yeah. Like I say, it's confusing, but she'd already qualified. If she'd finished, it was in the final of that. Yeah.
And then finally for the women, former footballer from Wales, Lauren Price. She's going in at a red hot favourite in middleweight to pick up a medal. She's going in the back of winning the World Championships a couple of years ago. I mean, she's got to be a sure tip for a medal, hasn't she, Andy?
She looks very strong, doesn't she? And she just in her weight class, there's an American called Naomi Graham who's strong. But and there's a Dutch girl that I think.
Did she lose to Clarissa Shields, a Dutch girl?
That's the one. And she's obviously a challenge for it. But I think Lauren Price, because they've got the World Championship and they're high in the rankings, they could skip around as well. So obviously it's going to help you in the competition. And if they've seeded it, so you will avoid some of the big names until you get to the final. So she's definitely a medal contender, if not gold. I can see her going all the way. I can really see her going all the way. Like you said there, she is very, very physically strong, and you can see that in a lot of her fights. When she's on the front foot, there's not many people in her weight class that can cope with her. Big shoulders, no offense to her. She's strong.
She is. She's hefty. She's hefty. She's great on the inside, and you can see. You're not getting a shoe in with her.
But just overall, what I'll say about this team, when I've interviewed around the world, one thing, and I'm talking about even big countries, Team GB and the facilities they have at Sheffield stands out. It stands out a mile. The setup we've got and the pathway. Other countries, I know, look at it, and even America, a lot of the time they're funding themselves, these athletes.
Yeah, I know.
As you know, they are looked after like professional athletes, and they won't stand a better chance than what they will all be totally prepared for this tournament.
I think just on a quick point with that, I mean, if you look at where we were in 1996, where we didn't get anything, and look at where we are now. I just think that we are one of the top power horses now up there with the Uzbekistans, the Kazakhstans, the Russians, the Chinese, and the Cubans. So that's and we're only going to get stronger as the cycles progress. So starting off with a men, and Andy, you got Galal Yafai down at flyweight. He's won a Commonwealth gold. That was 3 years ago in 2018. Obviously, his two brothers are well-known pros.
There's again, the flyweights is a very strong division that I've seen when I've been reading about it and looking at the fighters. And there's Zoirov, who's Uzbekistan. I think he's the Olympic and world champion. And there's one from India who they're talking about a lot, Pangal. Apparently, India has got quite a strong team this time. But all those countries, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and China, they're very strong at these weights. So it's going to be tough in that division, no matter who he's fighting. So, but, you know, it'll be interesting to watch. And he comes from a great pedigree, doesn't he?
He does. From especially from his family and his gym over in Birmingham. Peter McGrail from Everton Red Triangle. Yeah,
well, it could be. I think. I know it sounds like I'm bigging all these up, but we should be, shouldn't we?
We should be very. But
it could be the perfect time, I think, for Peter McGrail. He's hitting that right age, and he's very experienced. If you see him in competitions throughout his career, he's been very consistent. And it'll be Everton Red Triangle. You know, I know it myself. They've had Jazza Dickens and quite a few from there, haven't they? And
Derry Matthews,
very strong club. And I'd love to see him do well.
Yeah, and I think he's got every chance. He's got a very good style for Olympic style boxing, as we say. So I'm expecting big things from him. We'll do these two together because they are twins, the McCormacks. So you've got Luke at light welter, and then you've got Pat McCormack at welterweight, Luke being at lightweight. So I mean, Pat's number one at his weight. You know, he recently won.
Are you from this area, Ray? Were these two? Are you from the area where these?
Yeah, I know these two very, very well. I've known about these kids since they were 11 years old. They were at the back of our sports papers. Berkeley have got a very big presence in Team GB. Callum French is there.
Berkeley known as one of the top clubs in the country, isn't it? With
Berkeley's a very Graham Rutherford's done a wonderful job. Before him, you had Ron Rowe, who's no longer with us, but we've got a really, really good club in Berkeley. And the McCormack twins are like the two stars from there. And I just think, you know, we're talking about McGrail's time, but I just think it's a time for Luke and Pat as well.
Yeah, I think especially Pat, he's going in as reigning world champ. No, he got silver, didn't he? He got silver.
Well, he beat the Russian. He got beat off the Russian, then he beat him again.
Yeah, that's right. So, but just watching him box, he seems to have that air of confidence that he knows, you know, he's the man to beat. And again, going in as one of those seeded fighters, I think he stands probably the best chance in the whole squad of getting that gold medal, I would say. Luke, he's got a tough one because, again, it's a strong division. You've got the Cuban in there, Andy Cruz, who's, you know,
the Cuban,
one of the best fighters. And you've got Keyshawn Davis.
The pro from America. Yeah.
A little story around this one. I interviewed quite a few of the Team USA, and 4 out of the 5 that I interviewed didn't make it because the American qualifiers. Unfortunately, with this Olympics, some of the top boxers won't be there because where the Europeans went ahead and the Asian and the Americans was stopped. So they went off previous. And if you hadn't had it, those who were in the squad just lost their places. And there was 4. There was Bruce Carrington, who's just turned professional. There was Charlie Sheehy, who had the lightweight position because Keyshawn Davis had turned professional. But he lost that, and Keyshawn Davis is back in because I don't agree with it myself. I don't know what you fellas think, but I think once you turn pro, that should be it. That for me,
I would agree. I would agree. Just a very quick one on on the other 3. You've got Ben Whittaker at light heavy, Siobhan Clark, and then Fraser Clark. I mean, just very quickly, what your thoughts on those 3? Because for Fraser, I mean, it's his 3rd time lucky at trying to get in the Olympics, isn't it?
Yeah, he's very experienced as well, isn't he? And again, that's a strong. The super heavyweight's a very interesting one. I think it's always a good one to watch. You remember watching Lennox Lewis against Riddick Bowe, and you see those people, don't you? And you know they'll be the next stars in the sport, and all of them will do well. But the one that stands out is that he's from, I think it's Uzbekistan, Jarolov.
Oh yeah. Everyone's raving about him. Yeah.
He's like an enormous Klitschko, and he punches. He's professional already. He's 8 wins and 8 knockouts, and he stopped. He won the world title, and he stopped most of the people he boxed. He's just a very upright but very powerful man, and he stopped somebody in the World Championships who I think could do very well. And if he doesn't do well in the Olympics, I think he'll have a very good professional career. And that's Richard Torres Jr., the American.
Oh, the American,
small, but I've just got a feeling, isn't he? He's small, but he not only wants to win this Olympics, but I can tell he wants Jarolov as well. So that would be a very interesting rematch. Fraser Clark's got all the experience, and he knows. GB have trained with USA, so he'll know all about Torres, and it'll be very interesting. Chevron Clark, he was with Jamaica, wasn't he, at first?
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, he was
2014, and he's in a tough division. So when I watch his style, and this is no disrespect at all, obviously he'll be fully prepared and ready to go. He seems more pro style to me. A lot of these Eastern Europeans, they're adopting that Lomachenko style, where they're picking up and over 3 rounds. I think that's the style that wins you the fights. Ben Whittaker, I think he could be a very big name in boxing. I think he could just peak at the right time. Again, what I said about Peter McGrail, I think the ones that are challenging for it, there's a Cuban, and I forget his name now, Julio Cesar La Cruz, who's a big name in boxing, but he's getting older. Yeah. And I've just got a feeling about Ben Whittaker. He's got that young freshness about him and that style. I think this could be the tournament that he does well in. So, listening to me, we're going to win about 11 golds, but
no, I think that's the exude confidence that we need to be having in our boxers, because they're very, very talented. And the final word for me on Ben Whittaker is he's very flashy, and he can definitely punch at the weight as well. He's moved up from middleweight, and he suits him in the heavier weight. So, Andy, look, it's been
talking about how much talent we've got and how good this squad is, and you're saying there's a good chance of us winning a lot of medals. How frustrating is it that they're not getting the publicity they deserve?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen it step up a little bit, Andy, to be fair, in these last few days, but it should have been before that. One of my things why I started is I should go into an amateur club and they know who especially if they're British, they should know who the world champions are, it should just roll off the tongue. And the young kids should be as interested in it. But if they're not getting promoted and pushed out there, then it won't happen. Because I feel once you know the story behind it, it's like us learning about them. You have far more interest in the competition. And
you're more likely to sit and watch the fights as well.
Yeah. And I spoke to the next one, so talking about the next generation. I interviewed Gemma Page Richardson, who's from Scunthorpe, ABC. Again, excellent record, Gemma. She's just won the European under-22s, and she's for the next stage. And she said to me, when we go to competitions, you can tell people are going, GB are the team to beat, which it's almost like we've become the Americans in a way. When the Americans used to, and you say, oh,
yeah.
And when I see it's not just me waffling. When I see the support they've got and the pathways, it's no wonder they're being really well supported, and it's good to see. And people like us just need to keep pushing them out there, I think.
Yeah, and no doubt we will do. But I'll tell you what we will do. We'll have to have you on at some point after the Olympics to talk about how well we've done.
Definitely. Can I say one last thing?
Andy will definitely do a part 2, mate.
Yeah.
Right. Can I just say one last thing? You had
Yeah.
David Morris on,
Yes.
Boxing for Better.
Yes.
I work shifts, and that's why I can never commit to clubs or anything properly full time. But I did go to the first session. He was running a community free boxing in the community, and he had a great turnout. He had over 30 kids turn up, and he's been very successful. He's a great young man, and again, this is why I do my channel, is to promote. I knew when I started doing amateur boxing, because I watch all the pro ones, the IFLs, behind the clubs. I knew it was never going to get that viewership. It was an amateur side, but these are the people that I wanted to promote and push out there, because they're doing great things, and there's a lot of great young people out there that are role models.
And we will certainly take that on board, because he's the initiative he's doing is great for the community. And if there was more people and more things to come out of the pandemic like that, I think our young people would have better things to do. And I really think it's been a great idea and a great initiative, and we wish him all the best with it. So yeah, best of luck, Dave Morris. But Andy, thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to go through the amateur boxers, the great amateur boxers of our country, and other ones to look out for.
And I love listening to you guys. And
thank you very much.
All the way, but I support boxers, any young boxers, anyone out there who's doing something positive with life. All the ones I interview, I always follow them and show an interest in their career, because you know they're doing something really positive. But Team GB, let's have it.
Definitely. All right, then. Take care, Andy, and thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Andy. All the best.
See ya.